Yamaha's latest is the MT-15. We have the review. The Mercedes-Benz-V-Class review, opening up a brand new segment for premium cars. And inside Honda's Civic production, a CNB exclusive. It is a brand new episode of CNB right here on the NDTV network. Thank you as always for joining us. We've got quite a lot coming your way as you've already seen, and so we'll straight away jump into that new bike. Yamaha's latest is a first because it takes what's already been built as a very significant brand, the R15, and takes it into new naked territory with the MT-15. Now, Preetham has had some fun riding the bike. You of course want to see our review. Here it is.
The Yamaha MT-15, the smallest model in Yamaha's muscular naked MT series, is now in India. And true to its family genes, it looks quite the part of the beefed-up muscular looks of its bigger siblings. The MT-15 is based on the popular entry-level sport bike, the Yamaha R15, but it's more than just a R15 without the fairing. The MT-15 has distinctive character with an aggressive front end, with a robotic face with LED DRLs and a centrally mounted LED headlight. Then there's the sculpted fuel tank with the extended tank shrouds, which further adds to the masculine persona of the bike. If there's road presence you're looking for, the MT-15 certainly has dollops of it. For a 155cc sport bike, the R15 certainly looks sharp. And its R1-inspired looks are complemented by entertaining performance and taut handling. Racetrack on the scale of the BIC may be overkill for a 150cc motorcycle, but it certainly underscores the R15's smooth performance and agile handling. No wonder it's so popular in India. And now it gets standard dual-channel ABS with a price of 1,39,000 rupees, making it even more desirable. The R15 has fantastic value and practicality whether you're looking at it as a first bike or even as a first sport bike. The MT-15 has the same 155cc liquid cooling engine as the R15, and it also shares the same chassis. What's immediately apparent is the difference in character. On the MT-15 you sit upright and it makes for a more comfortable perch. But it has the same intuitive handling around a corner and the same smooth and lively performance. From the engine, which gets variable valve actuation, which essentially makes the engine pull over a wider rev range no matter what gear or what speed you're in. The MT-15's final drive ratio though is different, so it has a lower top speed than the R15, but it feels quicker in acceleration from a standstill.
This one's got more torque on the road revs and the mid revs, so it's got more pulling power. So we're told that 0 to 80 km per hour, it's the MT-15 which is faster than the R15. Where it loses out on is at the top speed. R15 officially claimed at 129 km per hour top speed. Of course, we've clocked around 135 speed indicated here at the BIC today. This one makes about 118-120 km per hour. Same engine, 155cc with variable valve activation.
The MT-15 looks good, it performs well and it handles beautifully. The only feature which leaves you wanting a bit more are the brakes. The MT-15 only gets a single channel ABS and it also misses out on aluminium swing arm the R15 comes with.
So that's the new MT-15. It looks fantastic, rides very well, smooth and refined engine, of course, very taut handler. Now, if you're a guy who's in your 20s or maybe early 30s even, and you want a street bike primarily to ride within the city, This one certainly will make you happy. Now the problem is Yamaha's got a problem of plenty. The MT-15 155cc engine, naked of course, is priced at 1,36,000 ex-showroom. For 3,000 rupees more, you get the full-fed, sportier R15. Of course, performance more or less same, but the R15 is slightly quicker at the top end. Acceleration-wise, this one is quicker. Now, 1,36,000 for this, 1,39,000 for the R15. And if you pay 3,000 rupees less than this one, you of course get the FZ25, naked again, but it's got a bigger 250cc engine, more power and even more top speed. That is the problem Yamaha is faced with now. 1,36,000 I think is a little steep for the MT-15. It's a fantastic package, mind you, very nice bike to ride, very good handler, but at 1,36,000 would you pay that kind of money for this one? Now that's the biggest question, which is what we'll wait to see.
After an outing with the MT-15 at the BIC, it certainly is an impressive package and has the right looks, right attitude and the entertaining performance. If it only was 20,000 rupees more affordable, it could have had a real shot at setting the sales charts on fire as well. But if you're willing to spend that kind of money, by all means take a very close look at it, you will not be disappointed.
Okay, so from one review we go to the next one. This is the V-Class. Now, premium MPV, is that a thing? It is now, because yeah, you got this nice pricey, very high-end office on wheels, as they like to call it. There is a lot going for the V-Class, and for those of you who might want to raise your eyebrows and say, really? I mean, you could just get an Innova and then modify it and, you know, still save a whole bunch of cash. Well, the bookings that are coming in for the V-Class will surprise you then, because there seems to be a market that's been waiting for something like this. Ameya drove the car. This is our review.
MPVs might not be the talk of town, but the demand in the market is pretty much there. No wonder Mahindra brought in the Marazzo, Maruti Suzuki the new generation of the Ertiga, and Kia too is doing feasibility studies with the Carnival. Of course, the Toyota Innova rules the roost. But if you're looking for something uber luxurious, well, there's now an option available. This. Yes, it's a Mercedes and it's called the V-Class. Of course, it's in a league of its own because it outmatches any of the other MPVs we mentioned earlier on size, space, features and of course luxury. But it's still got some old genes in it.
So up front, it's more or less like the old gen of the Mercedes-Benz's cars. So you have the nice steering wheel, you have this command infotainment system, and it's not a touchscreen though, and that's a bit of a bother. You also don't get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but you have a flappy paddle gearbox, you have your analog and digital instrument cluster, all of which you know, takes you back in time, because this actually belongs to the old generation of Mercedes-Benz's cars, and quite rightly so. So let's get on and drive it to understand how it feels like behind the wheel.
Now, this is not Mercedes-Benz's first attempt at bringing an MPV into the Indian market. There were the MB100 and 140 vans, which came in 1999. And then there was the R-Class as well, both of which didn't really bring in the moolah for the company. But this third attempt looks promising.
So this one gets a 2.1 litre engine which churns out 161 brake horsepower. Now, considering that it weighs more than a ton, that amount of power is pretty much alright. 380 Newton meters of torque on offer, which also kicks in pretty early, and all of this is very sorted out behind the wheel. But the brakes lack a bit of bite. So halfway through when you brake, there is nothing. It's only in the second half that you actually have that bite, and it really stops the car pretty well. Overall, driving wise, it's pretty normal. You can't expect it to be fast, you cannot expect it to be really quick, but it does all right. 0 to 100 kilometers in just above 11 seconds, which is quite good for a car this size. The 7-speed gearbox actually reacts to your inputs pretty well. So it's a nice way to cruise out into the highway. The steering too is light, so really helps in urban conditions. And overall, a pretty smart and very good package.
The ride quality is impeccable and the suspension irons out all imperfections with ease. Only the deepest ruts make their presence felt. Don't expect it to carve corners. There is fair amount of body roll, and yes, that does not give you much confidence to attack any corner whatsoever. But there is a bit of engine noise that creeps into the cabin post 3500 RPM, and that can be a little annoying now. Because well, at the end of the day, it is a Mercedes that you're driving, right? However, there are other elements inside the cabin which remind you that it's a luxurious German car. You get features like heated and cooled seats, 2 USB ports, and an optional 15-speaker Burmeister audio system. The cabin is easily accessible thanks to sliding doors, which makes ingress and egress a breeze, even if you're in a tighter parking spot. It gets a flat floor on the inside, and there's enough headroom inside for the tallest of persons. Of course, the captain's seats add to the opulence and sense of space for each individual. But the party piece, of course, are the rear seats.
Now, when I was told it was going to be an outdoor day for me, I was pretty much happy because no desk job for the day, right? So I was pretty much prepped for not doing anything. However, I did carry my laptop. But when I saw this car, I pretty much understood that it's not going to be that kind of day, because this is like a mobile office on its own, and where I can have meetings, where I can do my work, and Mercedes-Benz has actually thought of everything and given the facilities for that. So you have this space where it actually turns into a tray, and I can move it closer, adjust it, and keep my laptop right there, and of course start working. So this actually provides for a good office space and to do work on the go. What you have to realize here is that the suspension setting on this is pretty well. It's actually set to comfortable mode, so there's less of movement around here, which is why you can just sit back, relax, and do your work on your laptop, or you can just have meetings here. That's what this space is about. What it does lack is the option of operating the infotainment system from here. Probably I would like to listen to some nice little songs right there on the infotainment system, but I cannot because it's way back here and there are no controls that I have. Of course, you get AC vents all the way at the rear, and that makes your life extremely comfortable. And overall, the space is absolutely good because a good amount of leg room, a huge amount of headroom, and a lot of shoulder room around, and some small cubby holes here and there just makes life a lot more comfortable. So yes, on a professional and a personal front, it's a big thumbs up for the V-Class.
The V-Class comes in two variants, Expression and Exclusive. And while the former is priced at 68,40,000 rupees, the one with all the bells and whistles costs 81,90,000 rupees. So clearly, it isn't cheap. At this price point, you can buy more than a couple of MPVs from the list we previously mentioned. So should you buy this one? Well, there's no one that beats the V-Class in terms of space, features, luxury, and even refinement. Not even some of the luxury SUVs. And well, if that criteria fits your bill, the V-Class is worth a shot.
A lot expected from the new Honda Civic in terms of firing up that mid-size sedan segment that's been, well, pretty much dormant for a long time now. And luckily, that seems to be happening. An expansion in that space is good news. There is a new significant milestone when it comes to the bookings that Honda has received for the Civic. And we also get an exclusive look at the production of the car. We take you inside the plant. The Honda Civic is back after a long gap of 7 years. Yes, we skipped a generation, which for long was considered a mistake on Honda's part, but all wrongs have been set right now. The Civic is here to reclaim lost glory and is off to a great start, already getting 2,400 bookings for the sedan, a number that equals the segment's overall sales for the past 5 months. And Car and Bike has exclusive access inside Honda's production at Surajpur in Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh, to show you the Civic being made in India.
That is a legendary nameplate, and you know why. It's been around forever. It is the name in many ways that builds the Honda brand, and even globally, Honda sells more than 800,000 Civics today across the world in 170 markets. But interesting fact, only 10 of those are locations around the world where the car is actually made. So India is lucky like that, that here at Greater Noida is one of those only 10 locations worldwide where the Civic is made in all its various forms. I say that because, of course, the car sells as a hatchback, it sells as a coupe, and of course, the four-door sedan. India gets only the sedan, but not all those 10 locations make the diesel and the petrol. India has that distinction as well.
The diesel is the 1.6 iD-Tech with 118 bhp and 300 Nm of peak torque and a surprising mileage claim of 26.8 kilometers per litre.
But given the way the segment has been operating, Honda says it doesn't really make sense to focus only on the diesel, despite the fact that it might excite the market, and that means the production mix between diesel and petrol, well, diesel's just about 20%. Petrol, still 80% of the production here.
The petrol is CVT only and gets the good old 1.8 iD-Tech with 138 bhp and 174 Nm of peak torque. Fuel efficiency figures for the petrol stand at 16.5 kilometers per litre. Of the confirmed interest it has received, Honda says the petrol accounts for over 85% of the cars booked. And overall, the top-end ZX variant has the most demand too, as much as 70%.
Alright, so you saw that entire dash IP being put into this car, and from what I could see, it had that central touch screen, which means, of course, the top end trim, and that is the ZX. Now the Civic is rolling out with 3 trim levels. There's the V, the VX and the ZX. For those of you who watched our review, what we drove, of course, was the ZX, the top end trim. And for those of you who did not watch our review, please go watch it on YouTube or on carandbike.com.
Honda's Greater Noida plant has a capacity to produce 100,000 units every year. It has seen several expansions over time and has been around since 1998. It has also made cars like the Accord and previous Civic, and it now produces the Civic, CR-V and City.
Honda's second plant at Tapukara in Rajasthan's Alwar district has a 180,000 units capacity and makes the Amaze, which has proven to be a big hit for Honda, its second success, the WRV, and its alter ego, the Jazz, the BRV, and also some units of the City. Production of the Brio has been stopped, of course. We hope the Civic manages to keep the momentum going, as it could spark the comeback of the mid-size sedan. The segment bestseller is the Toyota Corolla, which is now feeling the heat big time from the Civic. The Skoda Octavia and Hyundai Elantra are the other rivals. Nissan, Renault, Tata and Ford do not have a product here, while the other absentee, Maruti Suzuki, will get its version of the Corolla by early 2020 as part of its arrangement with Toyota.
And that's it on this week's episode of Car and Bike. I hope you certainly enjoyed it, and you've got to, of course, promise me to wear your helmets if you're on a bike, front or back. Please keep the seat belts on in a car, front or back as well. Join us next week.